Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin, the podcast where we bring you the latest news and updates from around the world. We have a lot to cover, so let's dive right in. Our top story today is coming out of Iran, where two men have been executed for their role in the killing of 4 police officers during protests in January. According to reports from the Iranian judiciary, Abulfazl Sepahi Bajani and Amir Hossein Safari Hossein-Abadi were hanged after being convicted of murder, arson, and damaging public property. The protests, which began in late December and extended into January, were met with a heavy crackdown by security forces, resulting in thousands of arrests and a significant number of deaths. Human rights groups have raised concerns about the fairness of the trials and the use of the death penalty in these cases. They argue that many of those arrested during the protests were denied access to lawyers and were subjected to torture, which is a clear violation of human rights. The Iranian government has put the death toll from the protests at over 3,000, while rights groups estimate the number to be much higher, at over 7,000. The situation in Iran remains tense, with many fearing that the executions will only serve to escalate the violence and unrest. The international community is watching the situation closely, with some calling for calm and restraint. U.S. President Trump has been briefed on the situation and is considering his options, according to sources. As we continue to follow this developing story, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the situation in Iran? Do you think the executions will help to bring stability to the region, or will they only serve to fuel further unrest? Share your comments with us on social media using the hashtag #Barbara's Bulletin. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're diving into a complex and sensitive topic in the Middle East, where tensions between Israel and Palestine have been escalating. A recent article by Asaf Sharon, a professor of philosophy at Tel Aviv University, sheds light on the dire consequences of the current trajectory. According to Sharon, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is not just a local issue, but a regional and global menace that demands attention from international actors. Sharon argues that the continued bloodletting between Israel and Palestine is not just a pain for those living in the region, but also a threat to global stability. The oppression and dispossession in the West Bank have mutated into an unabashed, state-sponsored ethnic cleansing, which can only end in disaster. The recent conflict has resulted in a lingering catastrophe in Gaza, with devastating humanitarian consequences. The article suggests that a different approach is needed, one that replaces the bilateral framework with a regional one, placing Palestine first and recruiting the region to provide necessary pressure and credible security guarantees to both sides. This approach recognizes that the principal stumbling block is assurances that do not rely on mutual trust. Sharon emphasizes that the ideology of Greater Israel remains alien to most Israelis and that they oppose Palestinian liberation because they believe it's a hazard to their security. It's essential to acknowledge the complexity of this issue and the deep-seated concerns of all parties involved. While some may argue that the current policy of maximum aggression has achieved nothing, others may believe that it's necessary for Israel's security. As we navigate this delicate topic, it's crucial to prioritize fairness, balance, and empathy. As we consider the way forward, it's clear that a reckoning is inevitable. The question is whether it arrives by design or by catastrophe. The international community must take an active role in addressing the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, recognizing its far-reaching implications for regional and global stability. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. As we wrap up today's show, I want to take you to the heart of Ecuador, where a devastating surge in drug crime has been wreaking havoc on communities. The BBC's Orla Guerin recently went on patrol with Ecuador's police, and what she witnessed is nothing short of shocking. Ecuador has become a key transit point for drugs pouring in from neighboring Colombia and Peru, the two largest producers in the world. Powerful homegrown gangs, with links to Mexican cartels and Albanian mafia groups, are helping to smuggle the cocaine onwards. The consequences are dire. Last year, Ecuador's murder rate was one of the highest in the world, with over 9,200 people killed. Orla Guerin's report takes us to the streets of Duran, where police are grappling with the surge in violence. She meets a gang member who admits to being a drug pusher and a killer, with no apologies for putting guns in the hands of teenagers or selling cocaine in his neighborhood. The gang member claims that the drug trade cannot be rooted out, and that if one gang is shut down, another will simply take its place. The report also highlights the human cost of this violence, with innocent people caught in the crossfire. A witness describes a revenge attack where a man was shot 6 times by 2 men on a motorbike. The witness says that such incidents had become all too common, and that people are living in fear of being caught in the middle of gang warfare. As we conclude this story, it's clear that Ecuador is facing a complex and deeply entrenched problem. The government has vowed to take action against the gangs, but it remains to be seen whether their efforts will be enough to stem the tide of violence. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay engaged!